Annual raffle prize. Oh, yeah, we got it. So the annual raffle, we just wanted to give you guys a quick update of where we are with that. As a reminder that it goes from January 1st to December 31st. And so far, we have 11 agents that have gotten a raffle entry entered into the drawing and 16 entries total. So as a reminder how it works, if you refer an agent that takes a meeting with myself and they mention your name, you get 1 entry. And then if that agent joins the brokerage, you get 2 entries into that raffle. Grand prize at the end of the year will be $5,000. Second prize, $1,000. Third prize, $500. Then as a reminder, our referral program, if an agent comes here that you've referred to us, you get $100 of every transaction that they do, so long as you guys both remain agents at the brokerage. So just want to make that clear, and that's where we stand with everything. So you can see we've had some great success with that so far. Next up. How to enter the raffle. Well, I just went over that, so we're all good. GMR Bucks winner from last meeting is Mr. Patrick Kenny himself. Congratulations to Patrick. We do have new merchandise and hats and everything, so we got some good gear to give away now. Next up. Listings update. Go ahead and roll video. A ton pending. Good. New construction's been good. What's that? Dave's having a heck of a year. Congratulations to all those folks who have pending and recently closed deals. And again, ton of active listings. Again, with this changing market, make sure you're having those discussions with your sellers. Instead of 20 offers, just manage expectations is the biggest thing, right? Instead of 20 offers, they might have 10, or instead of 5, they might have 1 or 2 in most homes still, so long as they're priced appropriately. But I mean, again, if you guys aren't getting a ton of showings or offers within that first week, have that conversation with your sellers and start reducing those prices. Because I think July, that wall will hit, and then we're going to see a bigger slowdown, just like we naturally do in the market in July and August, but it might be even more felt this year with the rising rates. So I think we're in a good phase right now where the buyers who need to buy are still buying, right? But we might hit that wave where all of a sudden this next pool of buyers say, I'm pumping the brakes, I'm going to wait and see what happens. So just be prepared if all of a sudden it feels like we fall off a cliff in July and August. So have those conversations with your sellers, whether they want to take it off the market for a month or 2 and see what happens when you get closer to August, September, and things start picking up, or have those reductions. Again, both conversations can be had, and you are their advisor. So get educated on what's going on in the market and be able to properly advise and manage expectations, just so you guys make sure you're delivering world-class service and still getting, they trust you as their agent that they hired. So next up, we got Justus Foss with Bellbank Mortgage coming up. Give us all the good, horrible, awful, atrocious updates. Go ahead, Justus, take it away.
It's even bigger on that screen now, but I decided I'm only going to talk about positive news because, obviously we're in a certain time. So thank you for your time. Here you go.
Yeah, right.
That's all. That's all I got. Yeah. So we all want to know kind of what's going down with these rates. I just priced some stuff out today. Obviously, if you were paying attention to anything from yesterday or last week, it was not good. Yesterday, the bond market eclipsed kind of like what was our ceiling before, the 3.25% on the 10-year treasury. And knowing that that's a ceiling and that we kind of broke through it, it's kind of like at one of those points, like once you finally break through, who knows when it's going to stop? Because then, yeah, yesterday was really, really bad. So we capped out, I think it was like 3.43 yesterday. On just to put in perspective, right now it's slightly getting worse. We haven't been where we are with the bond market since 2009, 2010. And we all know what kind of time frame that was. So the bond market isn't great. The next kind of ceiling is about, like, if I remember right, it's like 3.53. And then the next ceiling from that would be around 3.85. And this is the 10-year treasury bond. And if we get there, obviously rates are going to be, if we get in that 3.8 range, rates will probably be 7, I would assume. So drum roll, here's where we're at today. A 30-year 5% down with perfect credit, 6.25 with no points, 5.75 with a point. For the Borrow Smart program, where they have, the incentive where they get kind of a grant and they have good credit, but then they get kind of lower mortgage insurance and lower rate. The rate is only lower by 6.125 compared to the 6.25. And 1 point, again, is at 5.75. So we're seeing some compression in the rates between the programs. And we're also seeing the rates kind of like spread out between like kind of like with a point and without a point. For like the last 2 years, that spread has been really tight, and now it's starting to widen again, kind of like how it was in 2017, 2018, where you could pay and actually get a pretty reduced rate comparatively. So we're starting to see that gap again. Perfect credit with FHA, which is not really realistic in the sense of FHA, 5.75 with a point, 5.5. I'm sorry, 5.5 with a point, 5.75 with no points. So you can see that's a pretty tight compression there with those rates. So we also know that ARMs are coming back, and ARMs are kind of like the new trend at the moment. So a 7-year, they were 7-year ARM and a 10-year ARM. If you don't know how ARMs work, essentially, it stays fixed for that 7 or 10-year period of time. And then after that, it re-amortizes every 6 months. A little tighter now. There's 10-year ARM. So the 10-year ARM, 5.875 with no points, and then all the way down to 4.99 with a point. So that's that spread it's referring to. And then the 7-year arm, then 5.125 with no points, 4.75 with a point. So you can see big the 10 and the 7. So if you have clients that are maybe first-time home buyers or clients that are in a house that they know they're going to stay in a shorter amount of time, this is a conversation to have, because as long as they stay in before that 7 or 10-year time frame, they're going to stay fixed. So nothing's really going to change with their payment or anything like that. Once they obviously get past the time frame is when it starts re-amortizing based on the market. So if you have, and first-time home buyers tend to stay in their houses 3 to 5 years on average. So if they did a 7 or a 10, they're going to, be out of that before that. Again, we predict that rates will drop, but the prediction was 1 to 3 years. I just don't know now. I don't know what it's going to be. Yeah. So right now, the question was if we had 3 or 5 year arms. I just quoted the ones that Bell has internal rates on at 5% down. So we do, but those are, you have to put more down to get a 3 and a 5. Yeah. So you can get an arm with 5% down. Yeah, Rocky. The question was, do we have any programs for foreclosure buyers? In what way? Oh, if they're buying a foreclosure? No, because in our world, Bell looks at it as it's just a purchase. So yeah, just normal in that sense. Bell also kind of redid some of their pricing on second homes. So we all know second homes are kind of looked at as more like investment properties right now with the FHFA. So a 7-year arm on a second home, let's see, would be 5% with a point and 5.365 with no points. The 10-year would be 5.25 with a point and 6% with no points. So that's actually quite a bit of an improvement from where it was probably 2 weeks ago before we came out with that product. So obviously not great, but that's the rate update. Any
staying in homes longer, then what's the advantage, or what would you recommend having those conversations with buyers on going into an arm?
So yeah, Joe is asking what kind of conversation we'd have with clients if we would compare to a fixed versus an arm. The conversation I usually have is we plan out, and this is part of the pre-approval process, like how long do you plan on staying in the home? Because then that can be part of the conversation of what products we look at, and or if they're going to be using it an investment property going forward, or if they plan on selling it. So we figure out that plan, and then we go and what that really means for their in terms of saving every month, how much they save comparatively in that monthly payment. So I guess that's just.
Are there any prepayment penalties with arms?
Oh, good question. There are no prepayment penalties with arms, so it's just the standard.
That's why I think people get so fearful of when people say arms are bad, or do an arm instead because they take it as 0408.
Yep.
And those were awful at that time, but again, might be an actual great tool.
Yeah. Arms are definitely a different product now than they were before. Yeah, Rocky.
Because they could refinance any time.
Yeah. Yep. You can
get to the 10 years and rates are way better.
So that's part of the conversation too. Typically, if someone's going to pick an arm, the conversation is usually you'll either want to refi before the fixed product time frame is up, or sell it. But yes, you can refi at any point in time with an arm, no problem. Oh boy.
Just be cautious as far as because of where we're at in the market, where we're going, and potentially with arms. Refinance back out of those products or something different when the market changed. Value wasn't there.
Yep.
That was part of some of the cause of why people would get off of market. The value wasn't there. So just you need an arm and one arm. There's got to be a good reason to do it.
Yep.
Should be anyway, in my opinion, but that's like I said. I think we're right. Study your history.
Yep. Yeah. So Scott.
Much part of our whole
Scott was essentially bringing up the fact that if you want to refinance in the future, values could drop, and then you could need to have enough equity in order to refi if you pick one of these arms. So something, and that's part of the conversation too. Yep. So, yep. Lots of stuff to consider. Crystal ball. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be in Vegas. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Thank you.
Thanks, Justus. Appreciate it. Next up, we got Wendy with Title Group. Come on up and give us even better news. Wendy, go on. Take it from me.
All right. Good morning, everybody, and happy Flag Day. Oh, for what you did for our country too. Yes. Scott, yes, Scott, there's lots of them. Lots of them. He kind of put us down, Justus. I'm gonna have a little joke today. The Seven Dwarfs changed their name just for today to Soupy, Sticky, and Sweltering, just to go along with the weather today. All right. So, title. Couple things that I've been running into personally on files, and I've talked about before. My purchase agreements. Who are they? Who's really signing a purchase agreement? When you're representing the seller or the buyer, you can run into situations. A couple of scenarios I'll just say that I have had is purchase agreement. I'm representing the seller, signed by executor. I'm like, if they're deceased, if you have an estate, it's a personal rep. Executor means that they're working with the vehicles, they're working with the fiduciary, that type of part of the person after they've passed. But when it's the property, it becomes an estate and it's a personal rep who is generally selling the property. The only reason I bring this stuff up is because I've got lenders, I've got on the other side, buyer's title company are asking who really signed the purchase agreement, who has the right to sign the purchase agreement, all that. Another one was in that same scenario, they signed it as an executor. So I'm expecting my title work to come with the people in title and as that it's an estate. And I find the title work has that they're in a trust. Well, now it's not even an estate, it's a trust. The property's in a trust. So now you're dealing with a trustee, which is a whole nother scenario. So who's signing purchase agreements for sellers is really important. Who is signing it? Do they have the right? I actually have an agent that works with the buyer who's telling me, here's the purchase agreement, the seller, just one seller signed. When I looked at the taxes, do you guys look at taxes when you're, okay, who's in taxation department is two people. Person signed it. What happened to the other person? She's thinking maybe it could be death, it can be divorce, it can be all sorts of things, right? Well, I'm like, let's wait and see what the title work comes up as. We find out they got divorced in 2018. She changed her name. She signed a purchase agreement with her married and she changed her name. Is that the right signature that should be on that purchase agreement? Just things to think about when you're working with buyers and sellers and who's signing that purchase agreement. It's a legal binding contract and who is signing it has the authority to sign. Whether you're representing the seller or representing the buyer, you're going to get questions from title people. You're going to get questions from lenders. So it's just a heads up. All right. So we involve a title company. That's why we do the title search. We're looking at who really has the right to sell it. But back in the days that Scott was talking about, even when people were losing their houses. Some of them they were in distress and they had people walking in and saying, hey, I'll take your home over for you and sign, take it and record it. There's things like that that can happen, but outright, if you work with a title company, you're getting a search done to the property, we're insuring it. You're making sure who the seller is selling the house to the buyer is true. So
If they had owner's policy when they purchased the property, would that protect them against that loss?
if
Owner's
it,
title policy?
if it was done, okay, so title insurance and owner's policy covers prior to, so if you do something in situation when you own the property, no. I mean, that's no different than you hire somebody to put a deck on your house. An owner's policy isn't going to cover because they put a mechanic's lien on your property because you incurred that. So if you deed out your property to some slimy person, we'll just say, that we can try to help you clear it up, but more than likely you might have to go to an attorney, do a quiet title action, something like that. So it's just be coming on like those. I haven't seen those, so I can't really tell you what that situation is. Scared to, well, that would totally make sense then. And yeah. Oh. But it should be no, well, right, so then that would make. But that, again, is why we do searches, and counties, you can find information out there. Well, when you guys have buyers, do you know that they could possibly get a letter in the mail saying that if they want a copy of their warranty deed that's been recorded, that they can pay so much dollars for it and get it? Do not ever let your buyer do that. They're at the county. You actually get yours back once it's all closed when recorded. So there's so much scams out there, and that's probably one of them. You're probably right on there. All right. There could be but you'd want to do addendum. Okay, so you'd want to do an amendment stating that the seller's name is actually, the correct name, that's all, and it follows through the whole purchase agreement. And then you'd be okay. This is DocuSign, and sometimes I wonder with the DocuSign if people are really looking at how they're signing their name. I don't know who puts in the name. So did the realtor know what did she say? Oh, you know what? When I got divorced 4 years ago, I changed my name. Do you look at driver's licenses when you guys are having them sign them? I mean, I don't know how when you guys are doing the DocuSign documents, but when it came to us and we see the wrong name under DocuSign, and then we find out she's divorced and she changed her name 4 years ago, I'll let you know when I close it, what her driver's license has. Because I'm curious to see now, how does she have her driver's license? 4 years ago, she should have changed that along with everything else, right? Yeah, so. Yeah. But we're as a title company, we're going to ask that purchase agreement there be an amendment, just stating what her true name is. Yeah. There's a lot of little things that we just have to. It's all about insuring. I mean, that's what we are, a title insurance company. So it's all about insuring. Anything else? All right. Oh, you're up now?
Yes. Thank you. All right, for Dale's Dirt, we're going to talk about Market Watch. Because right now things are starting to change. So we are seeing more houses with price decreases. We're seeing more houses, longer days on the market. At certain price points, we're still seeing houses fly, multiple offers on the same weekend, but that's at the lower price points, I feel. So if you'd like to open up MLS, I think we got a window. All right, and then just scroll right down in the very center there. There's that Market Watch. And this can be a way where you can kind of keep a pulse on what's going on. And you can also relay some of this information with your clients, is just say, So let's say this is showing on the MLS, there were 32 price decreases in just today for single family houses. So let's say we're checking on a Monday after the weekend. If you'd like to go to today and switch that to 3 days. For single families, there were 387 price decreases on MLS. That is crazy. That is a huge indication of what's going on. And that is a really good thing to be able to share with your sellers to say, maybe we got to get this house sold right now, or maybe now is a better time to be buying a house because you're up with less you might have a little more negotiating power on the buy side. So, and then you can switch property types. You can go into multifamily, residential, farm, lots, land, cross property, all these different fields. And then you could push that day frame out to 7 days to look at what it's done over the holiday weekend or what it's done last weekend or something like that. So very, very interesting. It's still showing a lot of new listings, but your price decreases, we're not used to seeing this many price decreases before. Rocky? You can, I haven't monkeyed much around with the customize feature, but
you can do your neighborhood specifically, just like setting up an MLS service. You can set up your own county, your own city, your own neighborhood, the whole works.
Yep. So if you have a certain area, if you want to just keep an eye on Blaine or keep an eye on the North Metro, you can see what's happening. So.
Yeah, I mean, Smart has that too, but it's only year over year. I mean, they don't have a report this month to month.
This is live.
This is day to day. This is, yeah. Way to show your client, you know what's going on in a specific area. So it just makes you look more knowledgeable. So I'm going to keep it moving. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Joe.
All right. Lots of good Inman articles to share today. So we got, as it transfers over. So mortgage rates surged past 6%. I won't beat this to a pulp. I think Justus did the honors there. So they are meeting on Wednesday, though, for policymakers at the Reserve to talk about increasing 75 basis points. So potentially even 100 basis points. So that's at 1 point at 100 basis points. So be prepared for that. I mean, that's an even faster jump in the rates. So you can go scroll down just a little bit. Always pops up every time. Oh, I'm not logged in. You gotta log me in. Or did it log me out?
So if, like, I get that too, but I'm not, I just get like the headlines.
Yep.
If we want a specific report, like emailed to us, who would that be here in the office?
No matter what, it would be a link. And so the problem is if we send you that link, it'll still pop up that you have to register.
Oh,
NAR used to do it in the past. You remember, Scott, they gave out free memberships. I don't know if that still exists somewhere. I love it. I read it daily.
Can they put
Yeah.
an article to a PDF and then send me the PDF? I mean, that's what I do online. a lot.
Somebody can. Yeah. I won't say I'm going to personally do that, but
If I wanted something really bad.
what's that?
Isn't it like $100 a year or something?
Yeah, it's 100 or 150, 100 or 150 a year for the subscription. Yep.
The articles and information, I guess.
Oh, like I said, I read this daily. Yeah. I mean, it helps keep you a pulse on the newest tech, what's happening with bigger brokerages, what's happening with the economy. And they do a pretty good job at it. I got to type it in. Bear with me one moment, folks. Hopefully it's right. Go figure. It's the different email address. This is the problem when you have several different email addresses. I think it's actually. There we go. There we go. Cool.
What's your password?
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't even know.
I don't even know. Did you see? I guess I have three passwords that I do. All right, scroll down just a little bit there. So more above 6% on Monday. Amid a sell-off in the bond labor market report reveals again the inflation hit 0.6% in May, highest reading in more than 40 years. Raising the prospect that the Fed will implement a 75 basis point increase in the short-term Fed fund rate either this month or next. Fed approved the first short-term interest rate hike since 2018 in March, raising the federal fund rate by 25 basis points or 1/4%. That move was followed by a dramatic 50 basis point hike on May 4th. So again, the biggest short-term interest rate. I mean, again, they're being that they're not able to curb inflation, so they're just jacking up as fast as possible, and that's what we're seeing. So that's where I was starting to say July, August, you might really see that dive where it slows again. Right now, people are okay with it. They have to buy. We'll start seeing, I think, people say the heck, we're gonna stick on the sidelines and just wait it out. Go ahead.
Oh, I should ask Justus when he was here. Civil Park.
Yeah, with 1988 for assumables. Okay,
So they're like the last one I checked, it wasn't assumable.
They haven't
right.
Since then that I know of. Maybe
Oh,
somebody
they're
else-
not.
1988 was true.
Well, I think even when I got first license in 2012, that they were in.
All mortgages at that time were assumable. I think they are assumable with qual, but then that's not what you're talking about. I don't think, Rocky, you just go on, take on that mortgage. It's with qual. I think all mortgages are assumable with qual,
Yeah,
with qualification.
but then it's the bank and that's
Yeah,
gonna
you
be a
gotta,
whole nother
how
step.
much
Right.
rewrite process you have to go back, but.
Correct.
that's how we were-
Oh,
Anyway, so no, they,
Yeah.
mortgages typically are not just full on, you know.
right, okay.
Well, I remember even when I first got licensed in 12, that right on the purchase agreement, it was under the seller contributions, there was a tab, no contributions, seller paid closing costs or assumable. Those were your three options, if I remember right. You could do it, and then they removed that.
Back then too.
It was a separate amendment even?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
I think the market as it changes, that banks, they don't want what happened in 08, 07, 08. They do not want to own a property. Okay.
Right.
So
They might not
they're
even
gonna
do this.
Anything that they possibly can to work with somebody. So I see that coming back more.
Yep,
And I'll get into what I'm doing.
exactly. Yep,
On acceleration.
right, exactly. What, I forgot what institution, but the Freddie and Fannie didn't buy the mortgage-backed securities last week or whatever it was, right, Scott? 2 weeks ago for the first time. Who knows how long? Right, so the entities these loans right now.
They're gonna figure out everything that you possibly can not to foreclose on that or
Right.
push it off to somebody else. I guarantee.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Lenders sometimes-
Or they'll come in, they'll do a 40-year mortgage or whatever.
That's
you know.
pretty relevant from, just a decade and beyond ago. So yeah, you're right. They didn't want them then and they don't want them still.
No. I think we've hit that. Go to the next Inman article, please, Kimberly. So sales decline, price drop, turn of buyer incentives. So new construction. Had you noticed the past year or two with the crazy market that builders started getting a little more less givey out on the commissions, and they started dropping them as fast as that happened the past year or two. They're already coming back with incentives, whether it's $5,000 or $10,000 credit towards the buyer's closing cost, or a deck, and higher commissions. Rebound very quickly as new construction starts dropping. So I mean, they were building like wild, right? And that's what we had to deal with. I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's going to do that for every article.
I think you probably weren't like it when she tapped them.
Oh yeah. Kim. Cool. So reported a significant drop in interest from buyers seeking new homes in a monthly report. Decline in interest from buyers was having broad-based effects on the market for new homes. Builders in May reported declines in sales. We know that. Interest rates rise, pricing continues to escalate. There's no way we can sustain the type of sales rates we are used to. Keep going down. And keep scrolling. A lot of it's just a couple stories. A longer term pause in buyer traffic would cause alarm for 2023-24 business plans for a couple builders. So again, you'll see builders were, they got burned pretty hard in that last Great Recession. So I think a lot of them will start buttoning down the hatches, if you will, and maybe not build as many homes or spec homes or have as much out there for inventory. So which ultimately would hurt us anyways, because we need those housing starts. So we might see this, goofy wave again. Traffic is down. Go ahead.
Can the price of new houses be coming down pretty soon as the
Yes and no.
want to sell and as the price of materials comes down?
Yes and no. What I think though they're more likely to do is do a credit behind the scenes. So I keep the price advertised as what they're listed for, and they offer credits on the back end. Like I said, 5,000, 10,000, a deck, a basement finish, stuff like that. So they can keep the price advertised as that sold before they'll start doing price reductions. Because once a price reduction is advertised or put out there, all of us agents know builders are dropping prices and we go in there and start negotiating. So they're putting up their wall, if you will, right now to try and keep those prices. Lumber has begun the correction down, or it's at least declining a little bit from what it was. So it might take a little bit.
So all those incentives are secret. We don't.
Correct. You don't know, right? So the advertised sale price is still that list price. So they're not taking a hit.
Well, I suppose you could ask the builder. Yeah. I mean, if you get one.
Are you willing to do?
Yeah, have any incentive.
Right.
But
Right.
if gas prices continuing to rise, lumber, I mean, transportation is still gonna keep the prices high.
Right. It's a goofy commodity market with lumber. Right. Right. That's where it's just, who knows what actually happens with it. And that's only gotten worse, right? It's not getting any better right now with the inflation and fuel expense. Go ahead, Susan.
When will prices start dropping from Cambridge, for instance, the commuters that are driving into Minneapolis, are they gonna start selling? And
That's where you see it most. Yeah. So general market growth and shrinkage, you think about the metro or the main city. People expand out in good times because they want more land and they're okay with driving. So as fast as it grows, it starts from the inner cities and grows out in a market collapse or correction. Obviously, those people say, I don't want to drive that far. I'm going to sell out further and start coming in. Yeah. So it grows and contracts. Yep. Absolutely. Great point. Conditions are leading to more cancellations for some builders. So this is a sticky situation for actually one of our agents right now. We've been tied up negotiating with them for months. It's been the pain, unfortunately. I'm not going to mention builder or anything like that, but for you guys as the agent, just know that you need to start having those conversations with your buyers. If these rates keep creeping up and they're signed on a new construction purchase agreement and they can no longer qualify, you need to make sure that you have some protection built in, because in this instance, we're dealing with a builder earnest money deposit, as well as an initial build deposit of $30-some thousand that this builder is trying to get them. And again, the builder increased the price $75,000 on them in 2 months. And the buyer said, no, we're not paying that. Well, they have their own builder addendum that only protects that builder. Plain and simple, it only protects that builder. And so these buyers now have to try and fight this and get an attorney involved to try and get their initial deposit, their construction deposit, and the earnest money back. And the builder drafted up we've been going back and forth with cancellations, right? And they're saying that they can put it back on the market and sell it, but if it sells for a lower price than what was agreed upon, then they get to keep the builder deposit, the construction deposit of the buyers. Well, it's such broad, vague BS language, in my opinion. And I even talked to the other broker on that side and said, this language only benefits the builder. there should be some extra verbiage in there that it doesn't matter. Sells, it sells. The builder still made the money. But why does it matter? If it's $1 or less, the builder gets to keep the whole construction deposit? No, that's not the way it works. But that language is so broad, it benefits the builder. They signed the builder addendum initially. Yeah, so now we're trying to draft new verbiage for a cancellation. The buyer gets all money back. Not back and forth. He's involved. It's nasty. So no, before the whole. We're talking a 75 grand. And we said they blame HVAC went up 10 grand. Foundation. Like, no, it didn't. Not in 2 months, it didn't.
So they had a deposit, but they didn't have a purchase agreement for the sale price?
They had it, yeah, they did.
Oh,
And
how can you do that?
with addendum, sale prices because the last 2 years with COVID. Get BS verbiage. Right. I say, you guys don't understand new construction. Seek help and guidance from myself or a broker or someone who knows new construction, because these purchase agreements and builder addendums are not set up to benefit the buyer. And with the rising rate, look, if they sign that and they no longer qualify to buy the dang thing, of losing their construction deposit and earnest money. So be super mindful of that. Anyone have any questions on that? Online, all good? It's my word of warning on that. All right, next up. What are the odds of a housing bubble? 114 experts weigh in. So scroll down just a little bit. Right there, we're probably on the next housing bubble, and even if we were, a burst probably wouldn't sting too much. So there's a consensus of 114 economists and housing experts polled. Instead of worrying about a possible bubble, most of these experts are keeping their eyes on the chance of a small recession. Approximately 3 out of 4 of these experts expect the economy to contract for multiple quarters in either 2022 or 23, as the Fed takes big steps to fight consumer price inflation. It's unclear how such a recession would affect the real estate industry at this particular moment. I think it only, again, goes down, right? Rocky, go ahead.
Haven't we heard through the grapevine or just through history that Zillow was like overly aggressive on their pricing and all this?
Oh, absolutely.
But then they quote Zillow with all this stuff.
Every time.
I mean, how accurate is it?
Well, Zillow probably spends money to be and advertise on Inman, so they pull them. The other part of it, though, they have a ton of data.
It's still correct, though, even though they're quoting Zillow or using Zillow stuff.
I think so. Just what you see again, consumer credit card debt is up 20%. These rates aren't sustainable for most buyers. I mean, and GDP, again, second quarter, if that report comes out in July that it has declined, that is an official recession. So again, they're not crazy. It's not that I don't trust them, but yeah, I mean, they have the most data because of just they have the most users on their site. So they can see trends even better than Inman or anyone else can, what's going on. Keep going down. Approximately 60% of those experts believe today's housing prices aren't decoupled from market fundamentals, but are explained instead by factors like supply and demand that are backed by mostly sound lending practices. So it's interesting. I have a different opinion on that. I think, yes, they have increased the lending requirements more stringently. However, it's still the same borrower that it was back then. It's not like it's new people. It's the same borrowers that were asking for loans in 2004. Yes, they have a higher credit score, but their income has not kept up with the price of the inflation and price appreciation. There's still some things that aren't, I think, being explained. Than what we're being led to believe is actually going to happen or could potentially happen. So I say that just to be, again, we've shared multiple articles. There's so many different opinions on what's going to happen with this market, but the bottom line is just be prepared for anything and everything and be able to thrive, not just survive. So a couple different things that come into mind. and then I'm going to get into our guest speaker. So a couple different things on what happens in a recession, what us as agents need to do, right? So just let you think about when you first got into this business, what was the number one thing you said? You were told, have 6 months of reserves set aside so you can weather any storm before you get your first sale. Well, same thing could be said for even veteran agents who, again, if the market slows drastically, you might not have as many sales. So still, just like a new agent, have those reserves or have a secondary game plan of what you need to do to get increased sales. Couple different client appreciation events are huge, right? Clients, they might need to sell now, right? They, for whatever reason, they're in troubled times, divorce, maybe people still need to buy and sell and invest in real estate every single day. Closings happen every day, right? But you have to find that new source of business potentially and be able to adapt quickly is what it comes down to. We did a client appreciation event this past weekend. We rented out the movie theater in Champlin and screened the new Jurassic Park movie. So all of our past clients, we got sent out an email and text. They got the free movie, free popcorn, and a free pop. Super easy event to do. The movie theater, most movie theaters have done this with other agents in the past. So they just gave us raffle tickets, gave them to our clients as they walked in. They went, they got their movie, got to say hi to them quick. They walked in, I think, out the door for 30 plus people where you're into it for about $300. So again, relatively inexpensive, right? Do that 3-4 times a week, a month, or a year, excuse me. Don't, a year. No, Megan will kill me. Megan will kill me. But again, it's super easy to do this stuff and just remind people in their daily lives that you are agents and these are types of things you can do. So again, we'll do that 4 times a year. Buster movies. And the thing about it, not to be mean or anything, but just schedule these because 90% of the time, only a few people are going to show up anyways. But the thought that you reached out to every single one of your past clients and thought about them and invited them, that's what they care about. So you want to invite you don't want anyone to come, but you want everyone to know that you invited them, right? Because that's how you stay present and in their mind. Rocky, go ahead.
The plan is gets the most attendance, so is it a Friday, Saturday?
We did Sunday. So last year, 2 years, more than that, we did a movie event as well. And we did like a month in advance and we had great turnout, but it was only because we kept reminding. What I found this time, I did it the night prior. What we do is do it on Friday night.
The email?
Yep, the email and the text for a Sunday movie. If you schedule it too far in advance, people are worried that they don't know what the hell's on their calendar. They're not going to show up or sign up, right? So you want to do it sooner to the event anyways, and that way it's a spur of the moment. Hey, we don't have anything going on. It's this weekend. Let's go do that. So that's where I found the best success.
It's a new movie that's not out yet?
Jurassic Park, yeah, just released.
But you did it before it came out to the public?
Nope. We just said, it came out on Thursday or Friday or whatever. So we had our screening on Sunday for it. No, gosh, no. Yeah, around 3,000. Yeah, no open bar here. No. So there's one event idea, right, for you guys and your past clients. The pie days are huge. We do that for our agents in November, right? Order a bunch of pies from, pop a sticker on or a business card and reach out to all your past clients to get RSVPs. You want to do that about a month in advance, just to make sure that they have time to plan it, and then you can reach out to them. You can get, if you do this right, you can get easily 8 to 12 touches on each of your clients for a couple of client appreciation events. Another cheap and expensive one is picnics. So rent out a city park close to where most of your clients are, buy some hot dogs and hamburgers, grill out, have some board games out there and let them all play. I mean, super easy stuff to do.
Are you having another customer appreciation like you did last year?
Probably will. Yeah.
So when is that? You could use that as one. Right?
Typically September, October, I think we do those. I don't remember. September, October. And we'll start the marketing. We'll get flyers put out for everyone to send to their clients as well. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And great point, Rocky. Take advantage of our client appreciation for you guys. It's an agent appreciation event, but you can also invite your clients to that, just like we've done when we Last year we raffled off a Traeger, a nice Traeger grill. So it's a great marketing point or a way to reach out to your past clients. Absolutely. All right, I'm done japping my gums. Without further ado, we have a guest speaker. Well, not, I wouldn't say a guest speaker, but another agent at our brokerage now. Mr. James himself, with the owner, one of the owners of Minnesota Home Guys, coming up. He's going to tell us kind of what he does, how it was founded, how you guys as agents can benefit with helping him, as well as helping yourselves in an ever-changing market. Go ahead, Jake. Take it away, James. Awesome. There you are, sir.
Thanks, guys. All right, we'll try to kind of keep this simple and quick. What I'm going to kind of go over is how the background of where I come from, and kind of introduce how this affects you guys and where you guys come into play. So, so what I really want to first do is play what we do. And have you guys heard of us? Anybody?
Never seen it before.
Right. So we do a lot of TV. What's that? Yeah. So yeah. There's another commercial out there, and it's actually a skinny version of me. So apparently, you know, when they say cameras put on 15, 20 pounds. Well, apparently if you're a cartoon character, you can like goes the other way. So it's like, great. So we'll watch this really quick, and then I'll continue on. Not the right one. No, it's the
First one.
go up to the top. There should be a 30-second one right there.
Down.
That one right there.
That's the one that I just clicked.
Why isn't it's literally up there?
Try and click it again, Kim.
Sure. Oh. Yeah, it should say Minnesota Home Guys. Next one, go down a little bit more. Well, where the heck is it? Okay, we can go back and go up, go to that one right there. Nope, down with the little dollar sign. That's a different one, but we can play that one too. It's a little.
I do all the State Farm and Alabama.
Selling real estate can be stressful. Repairs, utility bills, taxes, insurance, realtor contracts, attorney fees, moving company, maintenance, cleaning. We pay all closing costs. Get cash up front to pay for moving and a deposit on a new home. We buy as is, meaning no inspection or appraisals. Sell your home today and focus on the most important things in your life. Call us today for a fair cash offer on your house. 952-649-3200.
So basically, we buy houses. We started the company up 6 years ago. I was a former firefighter. I was a contract firefighter. So I was in Iraq, Afghanistan, Wake Island, been all over the world. Came back, got a contract in at the refinery in Rosemont, and worked there for about 4 years. Then I ran into my business partner now, who he needed some help flipping some of his homes. So I'm like, well, I work 10 days a month. Why don't I help him out? And it started going great. And then he goes, hey, you want to start a business? Let's do it. So we started a business, and we said we were going to do 30 houses in the first year. We did it in 3.5 months. So we now have over 20 employees. We are now we're in Minnesota. We're in Florida. I always volunteer to go to Florida. As you can see, I'm wearing my Florida gear. I figured it's hot outside. I figured I might as well represent the Florida atmosphere. So, so basically, I'm here to if you guys see anything that's out there, and this is kind of where you guys come into play. If you have a hoarder home, you have a home that probably doesn't look like it's going to go the traditional way. You basically refer that over to us, and we'll go in there with our salespeople and see if we can actually buy the house, and then we'll give you guys 2% on the sale of the property. So it's pretty, yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's where you don't have to deal with it. Who's ever dealt with like a hoarder home before, or a house do anything? And I think we all have, you know, it's, so we're definitely not a traditional company. Everybody has their license. So we do the full gamut of everything. I like to tell people we're a full solution real estate company. You come to us with your problem, we're going to solve it for you. So the 2% is super easy. Typically our process is anywhere from 3 to 10 days. Boom, they're out. They can leave everything behind. And I've had people in Hastings, this lady one time, she goes, I'm moving to Spain. You see 2 suitcases right here. That's this whole house. That's all that's going with me. And I'm like, okay, that's perfect. So we'll come in, we'll clean up the whole house, figure out what we're going to do with it. Typically we buy everything. We do have the funds. We're not, who's heard of wholesaling? You know, there's a lot of people that wholesale properties. We're not the creepy guys. We are legit. Like I tell everybody, we don't get 100 5-star reviews for cheating out people, right? So you can look us up in Google to see that we actually do care. And that's one of our biggest things that we do push. We care. So like I said, 2% to you, it's a referral. And then let's say it comes back that they want to clean something back up, we'll give the listing back to you. We're not there for the listing. We're only there to buy it for cash. Anybody have any questions?
What are you better and different than the ones that you see, like Easy Road Home and
I've never heard of Easy Road Home, but there's Homestead Road. Yep. 72 hour. You guys all understand that one? You guys understand what he does? Okay. So all it really does is the same thing that we can preach to, guys. We can literally go in there and tell the seller, hey, we're going to pre-market your house. And then we're going to literally open the doors for 72 hours. And that's the time that they're going to come in there. He's going to die off, by the way, because of where the market's going, just to keep that in mind. But he was kind of given a false sense of what did they really do. You guys, we do that. We can do whatever the seller wants to do. And that's a lot of times when we're listing a house, they're calling us because they're in turmoil. They don't want to send a bunch of people through the house. That's why they're calling us for a cash deal. I guarantee you, because all they do is buy it for cash. They don't have any other options they do. They don't market and for listing the house. All they're doing is a cash deal. It's kind of the same, but again, we put on that we're all agents. So we're doing the we're all agents. So obviously we have to have a little bit more credibility, right? We have, what am I trying to do?
Well, it's the experience too, because they're such a big corporation.
Yeah.
You're just a number to them. The prices, again, with James and his team, they're actually having a sit down conversation saying, what solution benefits you the most? If we can make this work, we'll make it work. So they have way more of a bigger toolbox and just options for that seller than We Buy Houses, who is just a big corporation with their one product that they offer. Plain and simple.
People don't understand there's actually at one time there's like 20 We Buy Ugly Houses franchise in Minneapolis and St. Paul. And it's the way it's done is like basically whoever pays the most gets the phone call the first. And so let's say that guy maybe pays 70,000 for his, this is just stupid numbers, so just don't take that as a franchise, but 70,000 for the high tier and somebody might pay 20,000 for the low tier. Well, he gets the first 5 phone calls, this person gets 1. 5, 1, and it's just kind of, it's a round robin. You could call it twice and you still will never get the same person unless you finally get their local number. So again, we're the local guys. Like I said, we're a full solution real estate company at the end of the day. We like to think outside of the box. My role moving forward, I'm the coach. I'm the mentor. Guys, I've done every single role I've seen just in 6 years. I've literally only have had my license for 2.5, but I underwrote everything to buy it. I underwrite everything to sell it. So we've done we're guessing about 500 to 600 deals already in the 6 years that we've been. So I've done every single one of those up until about 6 months ago. We hired a COO last year, and which is really great for me because now I can step back and I don't and I'm not in the business all the time. I'm growing the business, which is great because honestly, we're looking to get into franchising. And that's my next move. And so that's, again, we've gone down to Florida and we started down there. We have boots on the ground. We have a contractor. Just in the last 12 months, we've done 15 flips down there. So
I think what you were looking for is because you're a realtor, you're on the Dakota Beth.
there you go. That was exactly it. Thank you very much. You guys, I appreciate me getting up here. One of my 2 goals here is to become a better speaker. Because if you get to know me, I love to talk. The problem is when I get up in front of people, it's all of a sudden, I don't know what it is. Once I get comfortable, yeah, so I appreciate, this is the training. I'm actually speaking August 31st and September 1st in Dallas. And basically I'm speaking on behalf of how did a common guy like myself, and because that's what I consider myself, become kind of uncommon, because that's what somebody actually did tell me. It's like, James, you're not common anymore. You brought this company from, we started off with 3 people, my business partner, my wife. And then 4 months later, we hired the neighbor. And then, and then we hired like 3 or 4 other neighbors. So in this neighborhood, we had like 8 people all working for the company. And then again, now we continued to grow. And states, no, Jaden, my business partner, he's down in Florida. He lives down there now. He decided to take off down there for COVID, and it's a lot warmer, right? So it's super exciting what we've done. Again, I'm speaking on behalf of how did I become a firefighter with a construction background, but to where we're at now. And sometimes, guys, I feel very blessed. I don't know how I did this. It's a support. And I'll tell you the speech, it really comes to delegate. If I don't know how to do something, I find somebody who knows how to do that, and then I pay them, and then we move to the next spot. Because I guarantee you, I've been sitting in every spot, but I wasn't the best in every spot. The best spot that I've ever sat in is the sales side. That's where I can connect with people. For whatever reason, that's my superpower. So this is why I want to get into speaking. Really appreciate. I know there's a bunch of people online too, so thanks for having me. Any other questions that you guys have about the business and how you're going to contact me? I'm going to be the main person right now. And again, it'll probably change because every time we start something new, I'm the first guy. And then all of a sudden it starts to get not overwhelming. It's just a little bit more that maybe I can handle. Then we hire somebody, and to fill that spot, then I step away and then I go do something else. Yeah, I'll leave some cards for you guys. And unfortunately, they're with the old brokerage.
Right.
So
He did just switch, to be fair.
yeah, we just switched. So Joe and I go back
2018 or 19.
yeah. So he actually helped us out a little bit when we first were starting, when we decided that we were going to go, everybody's going to get their license. And that was a game changer for us, because now when we're up against somebody who doesn't have their license, like you said, it's the code of ethics. I have to 100% explain what I do and be 100%. It should be that way anyways, right? Why should you have your license and still, it shouldn't make a difference, but it throws that perceived that, hey, we know what we're really doing. And we truly do. We've come a long ways, guys, and it's been great. It really has. And then I'm going to be we're going to live on the north side now. So I'm going to probably be here a little bit more. We're moving to Stanchfield off of Goose Lake. I don't know if you guys know where that's at.
Yep.
So I was a south of the river guy my whole life, 47 years. So it's a little bit of a change for me, but hey, I'm on a lake, so I'm really super happy. So
That's good
question?
stuff. We're not leaving without 2 or 3 questions.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Scott first. Let me do the mic just so people online can hear you too.
So, James, when you make offers, am I correct that you guys make 3 different types of offers? Is that correct?
Well,
Or-
with you guys, we're only going to do the cash side.
okay.
Because let me restate that we could still do some kind of, I don't like to say creative financing because the Department of Commerce doesn't like creative financing. They don't like that word. They want to
Non-traditional financing.
yeah. So we like to try to think outside the box.
Right.
And that's honestly, that's my specialty. I didn't realize how much of a problem solver I really am. Sometimes I like to solve problems at our office that are not a problem. And if my guys are online, they're laughing right now. Yeah. But yeah, for this, we're either going to sell it for cash. We will tell people that we're going to wholesale your property. But what we do is we call it a 14-day. Hey, Mr. Seller, we're going to get your property under contract for 14 days. And we have a big following that people follow us, other investors, that they're looking for properties. They're either looking for properties for rentals, they're looking for properties to flip. They may do 1 or 2, maybe 3 a year. They don't spend the money on the advertising. So they use people like ourselves to source them more deals. We explain that to the seller and we're like, hey, it's our job. We're going to vet the actual buyer coming in. And then the buyer is going to pay us the fee to sell their house. But we're always going to lock them in on a price. So a cash price, I'm just going to use some stupid numbers. Cash price may be 100. Their 14-day might be 110. And then a listing might be, let's call it 150. But again, we're going to give that back to you guys, because if you guys bring the lead to us, you're just trying to help your client with some options, and they might feel good about it. And like, you know what, I just want to walk away. I love this cash offer.
Well, before you started, like in the middle of everything, you said you're not a wholesaler. Now you just said you're a wholesaler. So I'm just wondering.
It's a, yeah.
Can you do that in 14 days if you're reselling it?
Yeah, so a wholesaling, so what we call a wholesaler, and we call that as a 14-day, because that's what typically a wholesaler does. They say they're buying it for cash and they get them under contract for a certain amount of time. We're just telling the seller, we're going to get you under contract for 14 days to see if we can push this property out to somebody else. After the end of 14 days, you either want to sign up for another 14 days or you want to go a different route. It's your, whatever decision you want to make.
Well, what if they just want the cash within 14 days and you don't find a buyer?
No, then they have to go to the cash side.
Oh, okay.
So there's a cash, there's a 14-day, and then a listing. So we're giving them options to go, and you're kind of selling it against each other. The listing, you're going to have to wait 30, 45 days, depending on what the market is. The cash, you're out the door right away. The 14-day is you have 14 days, but it still could end up being 21 because the investor is actually a cash buyer too.
So in your experience, which one yields more for the seller?
It's not what you're looking at. So just a different mindset.
Oh.
Okay. What you're doing is
Situation.
we're not pushing anything. Hey, you're going to make the most money on this. What works for you? And that's the difference between our company is we're going to give you options. We're going to let you decide, Mr. Seller. We're not pushing you on a cash. We're not pushing you on a listing. We're not pushing you on a 14-day. We're letting you decide what works for you. Guys, in my experience, again, for 6 years now, and obviously it was a market, is your traditional agent goes in and says, I'll sell anything, but just fix that wall, declutter this room, and fix all of this over here. Then I'll turn around and sell it. Guys, anybody can do that. Anybody can sell a house. Come up with solutions for your clients, okay? And that's when, again, that's why I'm here, is like, if you come up to a house, what do you want to do, Mr. Seller? I just, have you ever heard about, selling houses for cash? You deal with anybody? Yeah, I deal with the Minnesota Home guys. Want to get those guys out there? Remember, it's your lead. You're still going to get paid. Does that help you?
Dan,
And then you said you're only doing the cash with GMR agents, is that right? Or are you doing more?
Say that again. I'm only doing the listing. If it comes back as a listing, I'm giving that back to you because that's your lead. I'm only.
Oh, right, you're right. But I mean, we're saying that there's 3 options, but you're only going to do the cash.
The basically the cash for you or the 14-day with you. You're going to get 2% of the. Yeah. So I'm sorry. So the cash in the 14-day are really still cash. It's just whether that we're physically buying it or we're putting it out to our buyers list for another cash investor to come in and buy that property.
Oh, and if they want to list it, then you say we'll go back to the agent.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
And for folks who want to sign up, you want to go through that, James, where they can sign up to see that buyer list and get those emails too?
Yeah. So it's Paul at homeguysmn.com and asks to be on the buyers list. And what that is we blast properties out on Mondays at between 2 and 4, and on Wednesdays between 10 and noon. And what that does is those are the properties that we have under contract. Now you gotta remember, guys, this is not on the MLS, okay? And I know a lot of people are going, hey, what about the Department of Commerce? Can you do this? You got legit. If you have some more of the technical questions, ask the guys in the back room here. They will go over it with you. A lot of people think that, hey, wait a minute, you can't do that. I guarantee you can. Again, I'm just going to say your typical agent has tunnel vision. They're not seeing in reality what you really can do. And look outside the box.
So if you have some foreclosures and short sales in there,
Yep. I'll be honest with you, we're not good at short sales, and that's something that we probably need to get a little better with, especially what's coming up. In all honesty, we don't push on the foreclosures because that's the market that everybody just hounds on these guys. And we honestly, we let them come to us. We don't push it. Our TV commercial is it kind of explains it all. And honestly, that's not the one that plays. There's another one. There's two other ones that actually play all the time. That was an older one.
We'll share that too, just so folks can see that.
Yeah. So now when you see that commercial and you see the one skinny guy with he's crossing his arms, that's me.
Cartoon characterized.
What I was trying to ask before, James, is that on your commercial, don't you talk about the 3 different offers?
So on the one commercial, yeah, it's 3 offers, 1 call, that's all. That's kind of our model. And again, we leave it as a, wait a minute, let me call these guys. We don't physically tell them everything because again, when you get out there, find out their situation, right? And so everybody's situation is different. And it's your job, and I believe as an agent, before you even call me, is to figure out their problem. I believe a good agent doesn't just list the property and tell them to fix all of this, figure out how to help them out at the end of the day. And that's honestly what we do.
Mhm. Any other questions?
Questions? All over. We've bought up in Moore, we've bought in Hinckley, we've bought in, gosh, we just did one in Grand Rapids. We've done, yeah, there's one. You got our email?
Yeah, that was before I think.
Oh, okay. They're all over. And in the very beginning, guys, we weren't as good of doing, it was pretty much just kind of the metro area. And now we're just like anything, we're growing, right? And we're learning. We've pretty much have done everywhere. There's towns that I didn't even know existed. That I'm finding out. And again, I'm a Minnesota boy, right? I'm like, where the hell is that?
Yep.
So
Plenty of them.
Yeah.
Plenty of them.
yep, everywhere.
And any other questions?
so the email is paul@homebuyersmn.com.
Home guys, MN.
Or I say, home guys and then just in the subject line, say add me to the buyer's list.
Yep. You guys all get something. I'm sure there's got to be something we can get you guys all in the
Yeah,
buyers
we can
list.
send an email on the broker update on Friday. Email it goes out.
Yep. And so here's another scenario you guys can, if you guys are looking for, you have an investor that's looking for properties, this email blast is, you just tag yourself right along with that.
And that's
Hey,
where I was
this-
going with that. As this market opens up to more investors who want to get up there and take advantage of what's potentially up and coming, home guys are a great business partner for you to get on that email list and give some value back to your investors to give them, listings that they might want to buy. So absolutely.
Yeah, it's really, we even run a, here's another really quick scenario we get is, maybe we get a townhouse is worth $250,000, right? They want 220. I can't get that, right? There's a $30,000 gap. But what I can do is now, like, say you call me up, James, I got a client that really wants a townhouse. He's looking for kind of a deal. Well, the seller, he doesn't want to put it on the market because I don't understand what it is, and I'll never understand it, why people don't want to put it on the MLS. All right, it's not for me to understand. It's for me to find out what the client wants to do, and if I can find them a buyer for their house and make the connection, I
That's
just
how
did
we
my
are as
job.
matchmakers.
Right. Isn't that what we are?
We're matchmakers.
Right. So, and that's why I was saying, if you guys ever have a client that's looking for something, I've done it for a lot of my daughter's friends, or like I'm coming up on a property. They may only can afford 200. This house is worth 250. It might need paint. Right. They'll buy it. That makes sense. One more,
Yeah, I don't want to be the last question, but how typically, I mean, and that I think has a lot to do with it as far as condition of the property and motivation of where they're at, whatever is going on in their life, right? But my question to you is how, when you say I can't understand why they don't put it on the MLS, but of those properties, do you find generally most of those properties are really can't go traditional financing, shouldn't be on?
you guys, you can typically walk into a house and go, yep, this is going cash. I mean, you just automatically know.
That's what I'm asking.
Even by the smell.
Yeah, most of them, you guys, there's a couple of them we've physically bought and we're like, why are you selling? I just don't want to put it on the market. Are you sure you don't want to put it on the market? I'm like, nope, I want to just sell it to you. Like, okay, great. We buy it, we clean it out, put it on the market again ourselves. I mean, that's our business, right? We're a for-profit business.
So if we sell one of your properties, the commission is 2%? Or
So if you give me a referral for a property that you think should go cash, if you have a buyer for a property of one of mine, it's going to be traditional typically. Traditional, you can do, it's still negotiable, I guess. Let's put it that way.
sure, but I mean, what's the commission?
It's still negotiable. Yeah, it's depending
Whether
on
it's
what
1
it
or
is.
3%.
Because you got to remember, it's
or-
still off market. Again, we're trying to get them, it still could be, I don't even want to say it. It still could be, it's negotiable.
So we just write it in the purchase agreement.
Talk, let's figure it out. Let's try to, hey, I'm really interested. I got a client that wants to go see this property. All right, we have an open house coming. All of our properties that we receive, we do a quick open house for them. And typically, you guys, the problem is it's maybe 1, maybe 2, and it's for an hour, and it's get in and get out. Because again, remember, that's why they call in us. They don't want a ton of people there. They go for a walk. Sometimes we buy them dinner and they go buy them a nice dinner over here. We run people through their house and then they don't have to deal with it anymore.
Where are your listings?
It's on that email blast. Those are the ones that they come regularly on Mondays and Wednesdays. And it's done strategically that way, guys, because in the afternoon, no one reads their email away in the they got to get through the start of their day. A lot of these investors they have second jobs, or that's their second job is investing. Their first job is a banker or whatever it is.
And Sue, just to point out, you're not gonna find them on the MLS.
Correct.
Oh, that's what I was figuring.
Yeah, non-MLS.
They're non-MLS properties.
Yep.
Paul, he's distro, right?
Yeah. So Paul's our dispositions guy. So what he does is like, if you can sit there and talk to him all day. Everybody always tries to skip Paul and come back to me. I go, guys, I'm not doing that anymore.
So he's the one that
He's-
basically in charge of sending out your.
Yes,
your
correct.
properties available.
Correct. Yep. And then you can even say, you can call them up and have them keep an eye out of something. Hey, I have this townhouse in Blaine that I really want. Something comes available in there. It's all about networking, right? I mean, that's what this really is about. This is why we probably have these meetings. We get people to come in here. It gets people to continue to talk. The more people you talk to, it's going to be easier to find a buyer.
Well, the network is net
Network.
worth,
Yep. Exactly.
plain and simple.
So awesome, guys. Thanks for having me.
James, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Great conversation. Cool. Well, we got lunch is served in the conference room, and then we'll kick off mastermind. Probably a little late for folks online. Yeah, right now we're at 12:33. Let's play. Yourself, folks online, then we'll jump back on same link. Otherwise, I appreciate everyone in person and online. Thank you for spending your most valuable asset with us, which is your time. Fourth, have a great day. Goodbye.